Matt Quistor for Crazy Mo Guitar. We are in video 2 of how to play guitar faster in a blues style. So get ready to chunk it up. Alright, so in this particular example we're taking an E7 chord, which is going to be based on a third finger root 5. So the best way to explain this chord is to actually take an open C major chord. If you take a C major chord open and basically take your pinky and put it on the 3rd fret on the G string, this gives you the shape of this movable dominant 7th chord. So when I'm strumming, I'm not going to allow the low E or the high E to ring. So I'm just strumming from the A to the B string. So I take that chord all the way up, so my 3rd finger's on 7. So I got that visual there. My 1st finger's on the 5th fret on the B string, so I got a couple of dots to help me kind of lock in this chord pattern. So that's the shape. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a walking line behind the chord, so it's going to sound like you have a chord strike and some single notes, almost in the style of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of thing. So I'm going to strum the chord down up on that. Now I'm going to do the first walk is going to be the 3rd finger on the B here. This is the 7th fret on the low E string. So I'm just going to take the chord off and put my 3rd finger on that note. Alright, now the trick is in between every note is going to be an upstroke chunk. So what happens is you fret the note with a finger, then you want to bring the other fingers into the equation here just to basically lay on top of the strings. I don't want to push in or apply pressure. I just want to make contact with the strings. The lighter the better. That gives me that chunky upstroke. That's part of that groove that's going to be kind of generated here. So after every note, it's going to be a chunk. So I have that first note there. Now I'm going to go to the 5th fret on the A string with my 1st finger. Again, same deal. I'm going to hit the note with a down pick and then upstroke with a chunk. So there's my first note here, which was a 7. Single note, upstroke chunk. 5th fret on the A string, single note, upstroke chunk. So you rock back and forth between those two just to get a feel. Now it's not meant to be really clean. It should be just kind of sloppy and in your face. So don't worry about being too clean with some of the upstroke chunking. As long as you have that effect, that's the main thing. If you have a couple of strings here and there ringing open, it's no big deal. All right, and then the 3rd note here is going to be this 6th fret with the 2nd finger. And the idea is we're going to walk back into this chord. So you have the 7, 5, and then on the same string on the A string here, the 6. And then the chunk. Now I'm going to start forming the chord again to repeat. Okay, that's the first cycle of my walking line. And then basically I alternate that pattern with basically the same idea, just going to end with a different note. So I do the 7, the 5 on the A string, then I drop down to the D string and do the 5. So instead of going 7, 5, 6 back into the chord, I have 7, 5, 5 back to the chord. So here it is nice and slow. Okay, and then at the very end, I just use a little bit of a tag. Kind of a nice chord. It's actually a jazz chord that when we're using the right spot, gives you another E dominant 7th. So this one is my 1st finger's on the 10th fret on the A string. It's actually going to be what's called a G minor 7 flat 5. How's that for a mouthful? So you have 1st finger on the 10th fret on the A string, 3rd finger on the 11th fret on the D string, 2nd finger on the 10th fret on the G, so it's almost like a D chord at that point. If I were to really mess up and play a D chord in the wrong string, but it's that shape. Here's D major. It's that same idea. And then our pinky's on the 11th fret in the B string. So you have 10, 11, 10, 11. Now the trick is to just strum it on the 10th fret and then slide it over a half step. At that point, if you want to add in low or high E, you could. It gives you another E7 chord. Very cool way to end a progression. So here's the whole jam. There it is. And again, you can just kind of rock it out. If I use a little more distortion, you can get kind of a nice stank to it. That sort of thing. Or you want to really rock it out. Again, not meant to be pretty. I'm just kind of hammering down. I might get some extra strings, but I don't care. It's supposed to sound cool. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed that video. Lots of different tones you can get. I really like just the aggressiveness of that particular pattern. Really fun to play. Don't be too clean with it. Make it sound raunchy and nasty. So again, subscribe. A lot more stuff coming, more in this series, along with others. So definitely check out crazymoguitar.com, and there'll be a lot more stuff on the way. So as usual, Matt Quistorf signing out. See ya.